Hey y'all, I'm literally talking about this again in a longer video format because I would love for someone to give me some feedback on whether this child survived that incident within Jesse Owens Public School, PS 26, I believe. It's PS 26, but I know for sure Jesse Owens, 1014 Lafayette, Brooklyn, New York, right off of the J train, Kosciuszko Street, J train station, right? My son went to a public school co-located within Jesse Owens, and his school was associated, maybe that was an extension, this school about the name, Madiba Prep, that has 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, or 7th, 8th, I believe it was 6th, 7th, and 8th, right? Because elementary went up to 5th, if I'm not mistaken, for that public school that he was in. District 75, schools of special education, a child that needs to have a paraprofessional and be in a smaller setting to help them succeed for whatever amount of time they need to be in that environment, right? Okay? And you have IEP, and that's the setting you need, and my son needed it at the time. He's homeschooled. He does lovely because he did great doing remote learning, so I knew homeschool was for him. I'm so happy he don't want to ever go back, and I don't blame him from ish like this. My son saw a child in middle school who I believe was a Madiba Prep student at the time in 2018 or 2019, because my son was either in first grade or second grade. My son's mind works differently. He's on the spectrum. He remembers things like so clearly and crisp, and the fact of the matter is he doesn't always say exactly everything he sees right then and there because of how he prioritizes. And back then he told me, when I asked him how was school, I wouldn't say specifically how was lunch. I so regret that I didn't go deep and say how was lunch because I knew that lunchroom environment was crazy wild, that they didn't have supervision like they needed to. They tried to make it seem like they knew I was dropping a lot because I was a Parents Association president and that time, one time secretary, that I ran to be on a community education council. So I always drop in to see how my son was doing and other kids, were doing, right? I feel like they try to act like, oh yeah, we got paras, but that was his side. They may have had a para for a student who needed a para all throughout every part of the day, but they didn't really give them that, but they tried to make it look like they did. And my son was one of those people who needed a para even at lunch, but they really didn't give him such. In any case, the other school, I believe, was Madiba Prep in the cafeteria, and my son witnessed a child, I believe it was Madiba Prep student, get beat down, get his head beat in by a bat because a student and him attempted to trade snacks, he said, and the little black boy who got beat in the head with a bat on the floor by a white kid who took a metal, he says it was a baseball bat that extended after he took it out of his backpack, that the little black boy was sitting down at the lunchroom table and tried to move over, but it happened so quick. The white kid who offered his fruit roll-ups to this black boy, and the black boy didn't want to give his oatmeal pie or something to the white kid. The white kid thought that was the best thing to do, because no one wants his fruit roll-up, to go on his backpack, pull out this extended metal pipe or baseball bat, go like this, and then start wailing on the black kid to the point where the black kid's on the floor. And he's still going like this. And he said one student tried to reach out and stop the white kid who was doing that to the black kid on the floor. And their hand got hit, so they just went like that. But he said everybody pretty much was in shock. They just watched. And he said himself, he was across the room of the cafeteria sitting down. Now, my child, again, was either a first grader or second grade. It happened in either 2018 or 2019. And he said he just was like, he couldn't stop looking. He said the rest of the kids associated with his school, special education, students were just diverting their eyes. They were averting their eyes. They didn't want to look. They was like, this is not happening, looking away. Imagine all the different children with different issues in District 75. In the cafeteria at that time. The trauma they experienced. The fact that my son has lived with that or put it away and blocked it, compartmentalized, like said, that happened, but I'm never going to talk about it. In his mind, like he was like, I'm never going to talk about this. That was crazy. He knew it was crazy. He said near the ending of the lunch break is when people came in with a stretcher to pick the kid off the floor, and he saw the blood on the bat and some blood on the floor. This happened within Jesse Owens Public School during lunchtime. Jesse Owens is the main building that housed 3 different schools within it. Jesse Owens students took up the first floor. Second floor was Madiba Prep. Female principal who was buddy with my son's 3rd floor school principal. Okay. co-located schools of the building. All these 3 different schools sharing the cafeteria to have lunch. Half the cafeteria is one class or a couple classes from one school. Other half of this cafeteria is a group of other classes from a different school. But my son was in elementary school. He was in 1st or 2nd grade, sitting over here, while over here is 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And one went in his backpack, took out a metal bat, extended it, and beat the hell out of a kid's head. Like, my son said he saw the kid trying to talk as he left the cafeteria. He saw the kid, but he said his eyes like he couldn't keep them open. Like, my child was... The fact that he's told me so clear, you guys could go back and look at my shorts